Hi everyone, this is Chandan Kumar. I got rank 373. This was my third attempt. For the first attempt I gave in 2012, and I have to say that I failed miserably in that. Um, First of all, I took my optional law and public administration, and I had no background in either of the two. And the only reason I took the optional, I thought they would be helpful in somewhere in my course or in my service. Um, but I could not score in either of the two. And especially SCA became my nemesis. I got only 49 in 2012 attempt, and so I could not get even the interview call, and I was so depressed that I did not appear for 2013 attempt. I was also in job at that time, and it was really getting difficult to manage job as well as preparation at that time. Then in 2014 I decided to say goodbye to my job, resigned and came to Delhi. The pattern was completely new, and since in 2012 my marks in law was somewhat better than my marks in public administration, I decided to stick with law. I also joined a coaching for that. I joined Nirvana IAS, and that also helped. And for essay, I joined Ramaswamy sir. He gave me a basic framework. What I realized in essay is that I was, rather than writing essay, I had written a blog in my answer sheet in 2012, and I did not deserve more than 49, frankly, in that year. I worked on that, and I got 140 in 2014. That was a big jump. I got interview call, but this time I failed in GS4. I got only 75, and that despite that in 2014 marks in GS4 was more liberal than this year. People had scored really very good marks. Compared to that, I had only 75, and again I could not make it to the final list. In 2015 attempt, I joined GS score for GS4, and I must say that it was very helpful. I could recognize where I was at mistake, and in my exam I left one case study full of 25 marks, another case study of 20 marks. I barely scribbled a page, and in spite of that I got 91, which for this year is a decent marks, and I think without this I would not have got this rank or the service I got now. So I think basically I should talk about my improvement in marks in GS4 and essay. Basically when it comes to GS4, once Manoj sir said me a beautiful line, and I want to tell you all about this. He said that your marks in ethics paper has nothing to do with how ethical you are. You may be a very ethical person and still get very bad marks, because it is not your ethics that is being tested in those 3 hours, but the understanding of your ethical issues and how well you communicate those understanding to the examiner. So that was like an eureka moment for me, because I was thinking in wrong direction. I wasn't very clearly answering my understanding of the issue. So when I wrote my test papers, and Manoj sir saw my answers, he said that you have potential of scoring good marks in it, but the problem is that you are picking only 3-4 dimensions and explaining those dimensions very beautifully. But still, if in a 20 marks question you are writing just 4 dimensions, and even if you describe it very beautifully, how can I give you 12 marks when someone has written 8 or 9 dimensions? So you have to consider the case study, the point from different angles. How would you take help from NGO? What is the situation of disaster? What will be the impact on your own staff, etc., etc. So it became a very meaningful exercise, a learning exercise, which I'm sure will be helpful in my service also, and as well as it definitely improved my marks. Another thing that helped me, I think, is that again, when I was showing my answer sheet to Manoj sir, he said that why are you sticking to 3-4 examples only? You are mentioning example of Mother Teresa, uh, you are giving example of Sridharan, Mahatma Gandhi, but why only these 3-4 examples? Everyone is writing the same examples. So how is your answer book different? And especially those examples have now become cliche. Everyone is writing the same example no matter what the question comes. So I asked him, where can I get more examples? He said, start picking examples from newspapers. And since I was in the habit of reading newspaper daily without fail, I started making separate notes for that. And also what I did was that I went through the website of DOPT and the channel of DOPT on YouTube, and I picked all the awardees, the list of awardees who have got the award of excellence in administration, and some of the small documentaries given on YouTube by DOPT, Department of Personnel Training, of brilliant innovations in administration. I watched them all, made their notes, and used those examples rather than writing those cliched examples of Mahatma Gandhi, which are no doubt brilliant examples but do not fit in all circumstances. So it gave me a very wide set of examples which I could fit in any type of questions. Also, some of the topics I did not have definition in previous attempt. Knowing about what is love and actually writing about what is love is very different thing. Same is about ethical issues also. Having an understanding of those terms, ethical terms, and actually knowing their definition are two very different things. So at GS Code, they had given me a complete set of definitions which I memorized thoroughly, and more than that, just memorizing, I used those phrases even when the exact definition was not asked in the question. I think somewhere some of it worked, and fortunately I got through. Now when it comes to essay, I think what we fail to realize is that essay is very different from communicating in person. When we communicate in person, we change our sentences, our expressions according to the mood shown by the receiver. If we feel that receiver is not understanding our sentences, we modify our language. If we feel that he's not convinced, we change our stance. In essay, you don't have that opportunity. So everything has to be well prepared. You cannot simply start the pen and start writing an essay. You have to draft a blueprint, and every word, every sentence should be through a proper planning. Then only it makes an impact. In my 2012 attempt, when I got 49, that was the big blunder I had done. I saw the topic, picked my pen, and started writing. And by the end of the essay, though I was feeling I had written very good essay, but I know now that it didn't deserve very good marks, because it would not have convinced the examiner the stand I was taking. So at Ramaswamy sir's classes, the first thing I learned was that how to draw a blueprint, and after that I practiced many essays, and I had made a rule that at least 1/3 of the time I would devote just to make blueprint. So in 3 hours, in exam we had 3 hours. 1 hour was completely devoted to making blueprints of both the essays, and just by having clarity of what topic will go after which topic, this gives a very clarity in our own mind, and that is reflected in our essays also. The best part is that when you have a blueprint, your examples are not repeated, issues are not repeated. So it gives a very solid outlook to the essay. Second thing is that I would say that pulling your marks beyond 130 or 140 entirely depends on your hold on literature. If you do not have a very strong hold on the language or a good vocabulary, in habit of reading good books, you might get average marks. But beyond taking it from average to much better than average requires that you should be in the habit of reading. Those who are in the habit of reading classics, fictional classics, definitely have certain advantage over that. That's why those who have a very good schooling will generally score better in essay, because some of the classical works they have studied in their school itself. Third thing is that since this essay is different from a generalist essay, they are looking for a bureaucrat. So the concerns of bureaucrats should be reflected in those essays. For example, your essay is not complete unless you show somehow that what the topic of essay means to the underprivileged class, what it will mean to the tribals, what it will mean to the farmers, and how broadly it will affect your India. For example, this year one of the topic of the essay was the dreams which should not let India sleep. I know a few of my friends who wrote that India has to be a superpower, India has to be well advanced, and of course those dreams are worth dreaming for. But I think the real concern of a bureaucrat or the service we are joining is also how it will affect those marginalized sections. What are our dreams for those tribals? Are we really concerned how to pull them above the poverty line? How will we ensure food to them or health to them after 10 years or 15 years? So I think if we can show our concerns for unprivileged section in the essay, it will definitely increase our marks in essay by 5 or 10. Another thing is that many a times we fail to understand what exactly the topic says. For example, for the same topic I mentioned, the dreams which should not let India sleep. This topic does not mean what are the dreams you are having for India. What it really means is that which dreams among the many dreams that creates a desperation in you. It is not just mentioning that I want India to be like this, I want to be India like that, but rather you should be showing that 60 years have passed since the independence and we haven't achieved this. Other things can wait, but this cannot wait. That is one thing. So if you can show them that you have really understood the meaning of why which of the dreams should not let India sleep, then it will definitely pull your marks above average. And it goes unsaid that you have to practice a lot of essays, especially those who have not been in the habit of reading or writing, because during the exam you don't have the time to pause and think properly. You may write innovative lines sitting in your room, but in exam chances are very less that your mind will be that free. So what really worked for me was that I practiced many essays at home, and after writing many essays I came to a conclusion that these sentences are beautiful, these phrases are beautiful, and even though I did not make a separate notes for that, somehow it remains in our mind while writing in the exam. I would not have been able to think of those phrases in exam hall, but I could think about them while sitting in my room, and I simply copied them in my exam. And I think this helped. I got 144 in essay, and which I think is a very decent score this year. I think that's all that I